Hello, today is May 28, First Republic of Armenia Independence Declaration Day. On that occasion, I am talking with Rubina Peroomian, who holds PhD in literary criticism, but also has produced some scholarly work in the field of history, focusing on the issue of Armenian question and discussing Armenian genocide. Hello, Dr. Peroomian. Just to start off, even though the First Republic of Armenia was there only 2.5 years, scholars, historians, people who analyze the events that happened back then say that it had absolutely important role in the cycle of events that led to the creation of the Third Republic of Armenia. Can you tell us the role and importance of the First Republic of Armenia?
Very good question, very fundamental, but let me take this occasion to congratulate the whole nation, the Armenian nation, on the occasion of the Armenian independence, the birth of the Armenian independence, the Republic of Armenia, 1918. Back to your question, yes, the 2.5 years of independence, the Republic of Armenia, had a very fundamental impact on the history of the Armenian people. It was actually the birth of an Armenia. After years and centuries of slavery and lack of independence. So we owe it to the sacrifices and to the also to the circumstances, political circumstances that occurred after World War I. We owe it to all these factors by which the Armenian independence was born. And a country of only about 12,000 square kilometers flourished in 2.5 years. It became 70,000 square kilometers. And there was a great hope that the Wilsonian Armenian, the peace process, Paris peace process, will do justice to the Armenians after all the victimization during the genocide and create a new Armenia. And it did, but only on the paper. But again, we have that paper, we have the documentation, we have the fundaments, we have the basic documents, we have everything to recognize today that the Armenian independence was the root of today's Armenia and the root of Armenians to become, to maintain their Armenianness after the genocide. Because just imagine that time during the war, after the war, Armenians victimized, the Western Armenia completely evacuated from the Armenians, swept away from the Armenian population, and about 300,000 Armenian refugees in that small country around the county of Yerevan, actually. And from this chaos, the Republic was born. During these 2.5 years of life, the achievements that the leaders had accomplished is really surprising, and I wish I could see the parallels with the Third Republic of Armenia during the 20 years. I would certainly say that during the 2.5 years there was more achievement than during these 20 years. It's not just the structure that was there. It was the open-mindedness of the leadership. In 1919, there was the first free and independent election held. And this election that was held in that primitive situation should be an example for today's elections, nothing to compare with. And with this election, it was with no particular push or particular consideration. many women were elected to the Hortaran. At that time it was called Hortaran, the parliament. And when we take a tally of how many people, how many women were serving in that parliament in terms of percentage of the total number, it's much more than it is today, or it was during the last session, which was more women's participation. And also women having the power to vote. So that was another achievement. When we look at this achievement and see that 2.5 years as an example, there is a lot to be learned from that. And today, since the neighborhood is the same, our neighboring countries are the same, Turkey has not changed a bit, I assure you. No political agenda is changed from then on. Turkey is the same, Azerbaijanis are the same, and Russia has the same agenda against Armenia. There is so much that we can see happening today with Turkey, with Azerbaijan, and with Russia. And if we go deep into the history of that 2.5 years, maybe we would have been more alert.
What were the relations between Armenia and Turkey? First Republic was born right after genocide years. Yes. What were the relations during those days between Armenia and Turkey?
Just imagine 1918, the Turkish army is pushing forward, and the agenda is, the goal is just to swipe the Eastern Armenia, exactly, the same way that they did towards Western Armenia. And the government, because of the cancellation of the collapse or cancellation, whatever is the right word, of the Free Republic of Transcaucasia in 1918, April, May, at that time. They were not ready to fight against Turkey. Armenia was the only power with their very limited military power to stand against Turkey, against the Turkish army. And if it weren't the armistice, the Mudros armistice, the October 30th Mudros armistice, the Turkish army was really pushing forward. It was in September 1918 that the Turkish army was, although it was already weak, but they were pushing towards Baku, and they were able to free Baku from the Bolshevik regime that was. Actually, Baku was the only center of Bolshevism at that time in Transcaucasia. And the Republic of Azerbaijan had a capital in Ganja, not Baku. And it was at this time, thanks to the Turkish army's achievements, that that Baku was freed and became the capital of Azerbaijan. The Turkish army was pushing towards, as you know, Sardarabad, Bashabaran, and Karakilise. And it was a courageous act with a very weak army, together with all the inhabitants who were there, who were just fighting for their life. And thanks to Nazarbekyan, Dero, and Bek Peroomian, with no relation with me, that we were able to push the Turks back and just free the little piece that was left for us around Yerevan. And ironically, Turkey was the first nation, first country that we had to negotiate for peace, negotiate for the existence of the Republic of Armenia, which then during the Soviet era, one of the criticism was that you went to Turkey, the Daşnak government went to Turkey and negotiated them. Well, when there is a war between Armenia and Turkey, that's the where you should go to negotiate peace. And it was in June 4th, 1918, that this treaty was signed. The peace treaty was signed, and the Republic of Armenia was born from there. And Turkey was the first country to recognize the independence of Armenia.
During the times when First Republic was being born in Russia, Bolshevik revolution was taking place. What was the impact of that revolution on the situation of Armenia, especially the relations between Bolshevik and Armenian Revolutionary Federation?
Yes, okay.
During those years.
Yeah. Before going there, I want to add also the relationship between Turkey and Armenia. I was talking to a scholar way back a few years ago, and she was saying that, well, when I said that once we had Ararat on our land, I mean in Armenia, we could see Ararat inside Armenia, not outside. She said, oh, never. Ararat was never in Armenia. It was. We had Kars, and we had Surmalu, we had Sharur. Those parts were within Armenia in 1919. And it was again the birth of the nationalist Turkey, the Kemalist movement, that we lost that Kars and that peace. And it was because of Bolshevism, Bolshevik and Armenian relationship, Turkish Bolshevik relationship, that during peace conference, peace treaty or negotiation in 1921, Kars Treaty and Moscow Treaty. First it was Moscow Treaty, March 13, and then March 16, and then it was October 16 in Kars, that these parts of Armenia were cut and given to Turkey. This was the final blow to the Armenian Republic, which was 70,000 and came down to 30,000. The entire territories were cut from Armenia and given to Turkey or Georgia or Azerbaijan. Bolshevik Revolution was detrimental for Armenians. First, because of the Russian army, who had already taken a large part of Western Armenia, and there was a great hope that many parts of Western Armenia would be a part of Transcaucasia, and finally within the borders of because at that time it wasn't clear that if they wanted the borders, the national borders between the three republics. At that time it was the Transcaucasian Republic. But anyway, the Western Armenian, those territories were included. And by the retreat of Russian Tsarist army and the propaganda of the Bolsheviks not to fight, the Armenian corpus, the Armenian revolution, voluntary corpus, was the only army that could put up against the Turkish army, which was advancing. And besides that, there is always this danger of Turkey coming, and the Bolshevism was never a help. The Armenian government tried to help, tried to negotiate with Bolshevik Russia. But the only thing is, the Bolsheviks in Armenia, Armenian Bolsheviks, played a dirty role. And that is my focus, that is my concentration in this book, because I was so fascinated with the sacrifices that our leaders made, and the way they played the politics, although none of them were politicians. But the way they tried their best to survive in this landlocked country between amongst these enemies. I try to concentrate on that, the relationship between the Bolsheviks and the Armenians, the Armenian government, and especially the ARF, the Armenian Revolutionary Federation, since the Armenian Revolutionary Federation was in majority both in the parliament and in the government. And this is one of the criticism against the First Republic of Armenia. It's ironical that the Armenian Bolsheviks did not see the independence of Armenia a necessary step. They thought that the Armenian Republic has no power of existence, there's no need of such a republic. It should be a part of the great Bolshevik socialist republic, Soviet republic. So they were playing a dirty role, both in Moscow and in Armenia. They were not letting the peace negotiations to go on, to really take its normal pace. And they were bad-mouthing all the time the Armenian Republic and the politics of Armenia. And also the Armenians in Armenian government in Armenia, the Bolsheviks, although the government released them from prison and gave them a lot of different positions, teachers and all that, but they returned in a very sad way. Even in 1920, when the Kemalist Turkey was pushing towards Alexandropol, the Bolsheviks were just preaching everyone not to fight against these Turks, because these Turks are not enemies of Armenia. They are our brothers. They are enemies of the Armenian Revolutionary Federation. They just want to free you from this gag rule of the Armenian Revolutionary Federation. So it was the Bolsheviks. And when we compare what Bolsheviks did to Armenia and what the young Turks did to Kemalist Turkey, just opposite, in contrast with the Bolsheviks, Armenian Bolsheviks, trying to collapse, to fail all the negotiations. The young Turks, who did not have the government anymore, they were refugees all over. They were in Moscow, and they were helping the negotiations between the Kemalist Turkey and the Bolsheviks Russians. So this is a contrast that we should learn from it. It should be.
Thank you so much for the interesting talk. I myself learned quite a lot from the history you were telling us. Thank you again for joining us on CivilNet. Today is May 28th, First Republic of Armenia Independence Declaration Day. Thank you for following CivilNet.